No, everything is wrong. Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Greetings, mortals, and welcome to Ark forgets to put on his headset.
I unplugged my headset because I brought it outside with me. So, I have taken a nice little nap because I was up all night. Well, not all night. I was up about half the night killing things. So, instead, I'm going to take over in the evening, and this will probably be a reasonably short stream. I'm going to end it when my wife starts heading home. But we're going to hopefully be able to get a little bit more of the Abyss done here. That's the hope anyway. And let's take a look here. Why can't I see my things? So our goal is to finish up the murderation, and it will be joyous. Now we want to take out the succubi because they have the ability to AoE. Very much like that, actually. Those voids hit hard. So, I think that I can anticipate those voids are about the same strength as the AoEs from the Phoenixes. I'm not positive, but I'm going to try to get the voids down to a consistently low amount of damage before I move on. It shouldn't take too long, I would think. I need... The problem is that my thief isn't going to be able to... My thief can't get his magic defense and his physical defense up at the same time. And so I think I'm actually going to scrap the idea of pumping... Excuse me. So I was thinking that I'd use magic defense for the magic defense ring for the monk, but that's clearly a mistake. I should clearly be using it for the thief. Because if I use it for the thief, then I'll be able to just pump physical defense and ignore magic defense completely for the... Wow. Them misses. It makes sense. Those things have like 80 speed. So, I mean, it's not a surprise. So we're going to use a healing steel, and that's going to heal up everybody in the party for about the maximum amount it can. It's delicious. Delicious, delicious healing. We're going to pop a heal here. Let's take a look. So by giving the ring to the rogue, what that'll allow me to do is say, hey, Mr. Rogue, you can just ignore magic defense. One second, I have to send this message out. I've just stumbled upon the fact that both vampires and witches have covens, which is a really weird etymological thing because, like, a witch is a living spellcaster, like that, regardless of like your like concern about it. Like, a witch is a living spellcaster. They're alive and they cast magic spells. A vampire is an undead monstrosity that sucks blood. Now, they don't cast spells, though they have spell-like abilities which, for the plebeians, can be close enough to spellcasting that we can just assume that people can consider them spellcasters. But fundamentally, they're undead monstrosities, right? Why are they both have covens? I found that very strange. So I was asking a friend of mine, why does that doesn't make any sense? And then of course they lost complete track of what I was saying, so I had to clarify what I was saying. Let's see. And let's see, I can get concentration if I want. I feel like concentration is a critical step, honestly, toward, like, I've got the access to double attack, which I guess is fine. I think I want the concentration first, honestly. Because if we look at my accuracy is 18 on him. Now, I can start pumping up his accuracy, but his accuracy was 10. We need 40 points of accuracy in order to unlock... Oh shit, never mind. I'm an idiot. This is the problem with sleeping, is that you forget where you were standing. I have like 2 floors to go before... 3 floors before I get the bullseye ring and get plus 150 accuracy. Welp, mistakes were made. I was basically thinking that it might be more valuable to just get the accuracy so that I can guarantee, well, not guarantee, but so that I can actually have a decent chance to hit for right now. And then once I actually have the spare points to put in, I can get the other one. But that was a mistake because I'm going to have points up the wazoo. Oh shit, I accidentally went downstairs. Well, rune hat. Trident again? Okay, trident is not something that I already had. Go ahead and equip that on him. We do not want to equip that on him. I'm not going to save until I've gotten an idea of what's in here. Actually, I'm not going to save at all. I'm going to reload. It might not be necessary, because if I only have these enemies that I'm facing and I don't have access to phoenixes yet, a pack of 5 phoenixes is just going to obliterate me, so that's bad. But if I only have access to pretty much the same packs that I was just facing off with, but now I have access to iron gear, shit, I just saved because I'm an idiot. Oh well, that's fine. Long knife? crossbow and a rune robe. I'm gonna go ahead and equip this long knife. Is rune robe? Is it? Yes. I'm not really that low on resources, so it's not that concerning, but the fact that I do have to kill these phoenixes is a problem. The hope is that the only packs that I can run into here are like one phoenix. If I can only run into one phoenix at a time, I should be okay. That was just bad luck. I got crit on Moran with the same thing that could have crit me on the previous level and killed him. Got a crit and killed him here. But one nice thing is we will be able to put the ward ring on Varan now, and that'll allow us to negate the damage coming into him, the AoE damage anyway. So once that happens, all we have to do for him is get him up to... There we go, we got our ward ring. So he just needs so much physical defense. Or, sorry, magic defense. Okay, so now all he needs is the physical defense to reach the thresholds. And the others can all start pumping magic defense. And on the plus side, the Phoenixes are worth a pretty good amount of experience. On the negative side, only one person is faster than the Phoenixes, so there's no way I can kill the Phoenixes before they get around. So I'm going to need to increase people's speed. And I'm wondering who I want to do it on. Oops. That's bad. Oh, maybe I should actually do what I intended to do, which is use healing steals to get myself back in good shape. Alright. So I don't think this floor is going to be too bad. I shouldn't have had everybody attack. I should have had the thief steal. Because yeah, everybody's low enough that it's worthwhile to do. The monk I don't actually need to worry about. His HP isn't super relevant. The most relevant character right now is the Grey Mage, who doesn't have the trivialization aspect down for either physical or magical. He's getting there, but he's not quite there yet. Okay, so I'm actually glad that I came down here. Alright, so we are going to try to get, I think, 2 more levels. Let's take a look at how much defense he needs. He needs... He needs 22 defense to get him to the amount of defense that he needs to be okay. I could unequip that cloak from him to get a slight bit of edge. On the thief, but that's not optimal. because then I'll have to pump a little bit more of his defense. So the next level is going to be a magic defense level for the monk, and the monk is basically just going to be investing heavily into those stats. The conversation seems to have moved on to Superman for some reason. I'm not sure what. Well, I have a bunch of party members who are all asleep. So, the hope is that we kill this thing off before it murders anybody. It's up to you, Grey Mage. Discount Nameless Grey Mage, you can do it. Never mind, the thief did it. The Discount Nameless Thief has won the day. And we can go ahead and heal. When HP values get too disparate from each other, I want to heal up. Now, the unfortunate thing is that we do have a lot of single target spells being cast, and we aren't able to... We aren't able to split that damage in appropriately to the thief, because he takes so much damage from the physical attacks that I can't put him in the front to absorb the magic ones. So, on the plus side, we hit really, or not hit, we heal really hard with Healing Steel. Like, that's a lot of healing coming out. He's healing for 120 for 10 mana. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Okay, so Grey Mage has 2k. And we could give him 7 magic defense. Or we could try to get him War Cry. Or we could get him Concentration. We have a lot of options here, actually. I'm going to go with Black Art's Defense. I think that just giving him a nice +7 bonus to his magic defense is useful, and will allow us to largely shrug off the damage from the Phoenixes on him. Yeah. So he's got 19 damage coming in from Phoenixes now, and 22 from Voids. There we go. And boop. Okay. Unfortunately, I missed. Void's coming out, and that's 51 damage on the knight. That's a kill. So, we are taking a decent bit of damage here. We're not going to be dropping that damage to 0 in our next round either, because this is magic damage, and is thus harder to deal with. But, for now, we've actually reached our physical damage thresholds that we need, I think, for the most part. Which means that we can focus our efforts on getting the magic thresholds accomplished. Now, we aren't quite fighting the strongest packs that we could be facing that involve these enemies. There might be new packs, but there actually could be new packs, because if you look lower in the dungeon, I don't remember some of those spider packs, but maybe they did exist. Either way, I'm hoping that I can go for a little while longer before running into more shit that does stuff like poison and other bad stuff like that. But we will see. Thief is about to hit 4k. And when he gets 4k, he can get another plus 25 to his max mana, which will be good, along with the HP increase that isn't as relevant. So we have a freeze coming out. It's 21 damage to everybody. And there's the kills. So we're at 4k. We can now go ahead and pump up his stuff. Now, what does he want is the question. And I believe the answer is a relatively easy one. So Healthy Living allows me to put out 2 more healing steals. And because of the fact that I do not have to worry about bosses, I can use those healing steals as my primary healing method without worrying. So the freeze effects from them are actually completely negated by the Grey Mage now. That's not good. I don't like that. Critical too. And it's a good thing that freeze came out, actually. That freeze clears the air, removes the confusion from the fastest character, and allows me to... I guess I could have done this anyway, because confuse is weird. But we now need to hang near this healing pentagram because we want to level. And then heal. Or, well, we're going to heal before we level. And I don't think I'm actually going to use all 3 uses of this. I don't think there's any chance of that. So I should probably just use it now. There's really not much reason to allow myself to get to low HP. So Confusion comes out on the Grey Mage again, and we don't really care because hopefully the Grey Mage will get hit by the Orc with a suboptimal way to get hit, but it works. Can't argue with the results. Okay, now those are dead. I have 2,000 EXP to go. And once we get there, we're going to be dumping a boatload of points into magic defense. We're going to go ahead and use the first heal here. Because again, there's no way that I'm going to be staying here that long. I mean, maybe there is. I don't know. It's possible that all of the shit that follows here is going to be terrible for leveling, and that I want to say screw it, because the Widowmakers are coming up soon. I know that much, and I don't want to level with the Widowmakers. With the Widowmakers, my goal is going to be to get high enough stats before I get to that floor that I can just skip that floor entirely. And I think it's feasible to do because of the way that this stuff scales. Because the sea snakes suck, but they are nothing compared to the Widowmakers. Those AoE poison effects are just way too much to deal with my current setup. So unfortunately, those freeze effects are really bad. Like, 42 and 40 damage coming out to the monk and the knight. That's painful. But the thief doesn't care. He's happy. Thief ain't taking any damage. So we can go ahead and use an AoE heal. To make up for some of that damage that came in. Now I am wondering, is there going to be a point... I don't actually know what the stats on the Widowmakers are. I think they probably have an unreasonably high amount of speed. Let's find out. Widowmakers have... They only have 30, but 30 is pretty high. But that's not an unreasonably high value for enemies at that point. The point where you fight them is deep enough that 30 preempt isn't the same. It's about double what the things around them have, which is well in line with just a speedy enemy, not a enemy that is always going to go first when you're actually at an appropriate level to fight them. Because you can technically outspeed anything, right? It's just a matter of how high level you have to be to even have a prayer of trying it with all of your points devoted into speed. Well, the dual freeze came out. We have unfortunately lost a lot of HP to that. Unfortunately, the person who was supposed to heal me from that is asleep. Look. Get up. Do your job. Do your job, friend. Healing seal comes out. Boop. There we go. So I'm gonna have to heal my friend the knight with an actual manual heal. Bring him in line with the monk. So if we get this level, we should be able to negate the damage from the succubi. Well, once we negate the damage from the succubi, do we have the ability to follow it up in a timely manner by taking out the ability of the other things to hit me as well? Those phoenixes are going to require a lot of oops. I accidentally clicked one too many times. Technically I clicked twice too many times, but I had already selected and I thought that I had I had not, so I was on the thief. So we're going to do another healing steal, just to keep the knight above 100. Unfortunately, these things drop sleeping bags, which aren't useful. But we are almost ready . I don't know if I want to move on or not. I don't have the damage to deal with enemies that are high level. Like, I don't have enough damage to deal with these yet, really. And I don't have the speed either. So I feel like I could use a couple of levels to solidify my footing. Because while EXP gain will increase as I go further, the XP gain increases aren't going to be that fast. So I don't think I'm going to put any points into accuracy for the monk. This, by the way, is one of the most AoE-heavy parts of the game. There are a huge amount of enemies that all use AoEs, and if you don't meet the magic defense requirements for this part, it gets really rough really fast because there's no avoiding the AoEs. So we're going to put 2 points into HP, and the rest into magic defense. This magic defense is now 46, which is not bad, but not what it needs to be, so... He's gonna pump his. So we're putting up 4 points there. He does not need to put any points into anything that isn't defense, because I need him to get closer to these thresholds. So, next level, I will consider whether I get an offensive level in order to start taking out more of these things. We'll find out what I can do. I need to see this freeze spell in action. But I'm happy to not see it in action for now. Okay, let's see here. So, in terms of enemies that I'm dealing with right in the near future, because I have a lot of enemies to get through before I probably have to deal with like the fire cave and stuff like that. So, the enemies in the near future have how much attack power? Faceless orcs have 28. Lobsters have 30. Widowmakers and have 30. Ghasts have 32. So, with 32, that's 64. Okay, so I'm going to need 124 to trivialize gas damage, but that's to reduce it to absolutely 0. And I don't necessarily need to do that because there's going to be so many enemies that are poisoning at that point that it makes me very uncomfortable. So I'm not actually sure that I want to fight those in the first place. So he's confused, but everybody has so much defense right now that I don't think anybody's going to be getting killed by a party member. Does the knight need any? Yes, he does. So he has access to Warcry here. And I don't really need any of this other shit. I guess I want steroids. And he's gonna get to level 18 soon. I guess I'll save up for steroids. He doesn't have a lot to do with his mana pool right now. So being able to Warcry would be kind of nice. Actually, yeah, I think I'm gonna give him Warcry. So Freeze comes out, it hits him for 14. And that's the highest damage output that has. So he's going to be, unfortunately, dealing with pretty high damage coming out from spells forever. I don't think that's ever going to stop being a problem for him, because I don't have the ability to equip all that specialty gear that he would normally equip to pump up his magic defense. I'm not going to have access to things like Enfeebling, or not Enfeebling, the axe or the spear that I have that drop int. I just don't have access to those kinds of effects. And without those effects, I've got shrubs. So, thinking about who my Amaranthine Ring targets are, and I feel like the targets are Monk and Grey Mage for the start. Because if those two have Amaranthine Rings, then they'll be super tanky, and the Amaranthine Ring gives access to, I think it gives half MP cost as well. So the other advantage is that when he's casting stuff like Citadel, it'll have, oh shit, a somewhat reasonable spell cost instead of a completely unreasonable one. So that was unexpected. I wasn't expecting to fall over dead there. We did get a achievement for getting to the 10th floor. So unfortunately my knight is currently very much the weakest link. I feel like a knight actually has trouble in these areas. If I had a hunter, the hunter would have a difficult time pumping their resistance and physical defense stat, but the hunter would be able to the hunter would be able to regen, which means that I could do the regen makes a big difference when you're talking about like relatively small amounts of damage over a very, very long time. So every single turn, the monk is sloughing off 6 points of damage right now. And a hunter wouldn't be sloughing off as much unless they had invested more heavily into HP. But I could invest reasonably heavily into HP if I wanted. So I'm a little concerned about the fact that the knight has a really expensive magic defense increase, which to an extent like nullifies the advantage that they get from their very good physical defense. So they have to spend so many points investing into their magic defense that they end up not really having as many as you'd expect to use on physical. And offensive specialty is all well and good. Defensive specialty, no. Not unless you can use actual shield walls to, like, ensure that certain hits are going to certain characters. Having a tank character who can't take a magic hit is trouble. So I do think that the Grey Mage makes a better tank. I just got surprised. No surprise there. Okay. And I will be right back, actually. Sorry about that. I needed to blow the nose. Blow the nostrils clean of the contamination that extends within them and such. Whatever. So anyway, 22 damage to the thief coming from this guy, which is not bad. So is it low enough? The problem is that I have about 6,000 left before I can really take advantage of the bullshit ring, the bullseye ring. So honestly, in terms of leveling opportunities, this feels like a really good opportunity to increase everybody's attack power and get myself enough experience and SP to unlock multi-hits on the monk. So the monk is going to be hitting 4 times, so hitting... He doesn't necessarily need a huge amount of extra attack power. I should check. So freeze comes out, which is actually good for me. So dark pixies are obviously an issue. But they don't necessarily become an issue till substantially later. We will at some point have mind flayers, which really sucks. The problem is that when we want to skip past the mind flayers, we're going to skip right into some really nasty packs. So... the threshold for alligators, which are sort of a mid-game, like extremely dangerous mid-game enemy. They have 180 attack on legendary, so I need 360 defense to trivialize the damage coming out of an alligator. But one thing that I am noticing is that I shouldn't have to deal with most of the really strong enemies in the game until I have access to better gear than my main party has right now. I think I want to get... That is very bad. I'm pretty sure that that knight's dead. Now, the reason that I used a macro here is because it allows me to actually get an attack out with the knight or anyone else who gets hit. And there we go. The problem is that a freeze is going to kill the knight. Yeah. Alright. That's too bad. I don't know what we're going to get access to in the capacity of, like crowd control resistance and things like that. I don't know if at some point I'm going to get non-generic equipment, because I feel like we're just going to be getting generic equipment the whole game, or the whole run, and if I do just get generic equipment the whole time, that's trouble. Because anytime I run into something that has like AoE sleeps and other AoE CC abilities, it's going to be really rough for me. So, Grey Mage is ready to invest an entire level into his offensive traits. He can invest into his attack power. He's not at the defense threshold for the next enemy type. But I think he's close enough. Now, I actually don't have to worry about those little guys at all. The spell coming out of those succubi is much more dangerous now. It used to be more up in the air, but now it's very clear that these things are not as dangerous. They have like a 10% chance, if they do a physical attack, of hitting the thief, and that is not good, but it's not any worse than the other thing hitting me with an AoE, and that's a much higher probability. So we're going to get double attack. So double attack will allow me to end a couple of fights per rest phase a little faster. And we now are 4,000 away from getting what we need. Unfortunately, my knight is crying. Now, the other stat that I do need oh god. I think my knight's gonna die. I'm positive my knight's gonna die. That's okay. That's a really nasty pack right there. Let's see. But next level, the knight is going to have to devote all of his points into magic defense again. He's not going to be able to... He's not going to be able to invest in anything else for a while, because the Phoenixes are not the only int threshold that I'm looking to beat right now. But the highest attack power out of anything that I'm going to have to fight in here is Kali's Servant at 170 attack power. So... That's not true. I have the boss. So, but the final boss of this place isn't terribly relevant, really. Compared to dealing with the rest of the area. 155 SP. I really wish that I could use the SP items. Because if I could do that, and I actually can. So the succubus is using reinforced armor, which doesn't help it very much. So the next thing I'll be getting in here is that ring. Now, I don't think there's a 150 defense ring in here. I think the Quicksilver ring is probably agility. And we have 2,000 on the Grey Mage. Does he need anything there? Concentration. Okay. So his accuracy will be substantially improved by that. Okay, we got one down. The other one used a physical attack. And then they put me to sleep. So that sucks. Okay, the knight is going to have to just guard, because he's going to get blasted with an AoE most likely at some point. Shit. You could use a warp ray. And just hope that nobody hits the knight. We only got one stun off, but we did get 10 preemptive on the entire party. And that's enough to get the kill. Now we just have to hope this isn't on... Okay, whew. Okay, I'm glad we picked up Warp Ray. Just gonna pop from here. Whew. So So we have a decent number of pretty dangerous enemies. I don't know how much int we have to deal with. We have to deal with a pretty huge amount of int, actually. Thief is probably going to have to eventually start putting points into magic defense. But not immediately. It's going to take a long time. Actually, probably not, now that I think about it, because he's going to be naturally accumulating magic defense on gear as well. So since he's going to be accumulating magic defense on gear, I don't think he's going to need that. So... By the time I run into things from the Asgard catacombs, is actually 400 to 500. So one more level should get my Thief in good shape, and should get my Grey Mage into death-dealing shape, because I think he can just dump all of his points into attack power this level. I guess he does need a little bit more magic defense, but it's not a priority right now. I don't know. Is anything else going to have higher? Not sure if I have to worry about anything that's more magically damaging. That is some loud machinery out there. In terms of physical attack, we do have slightly increased values coming up. Now in terms of magic, I don't know that there's any nukers coming up. There's an Int 26 Griffin that I'll have to worry about eventually. But not immediately. So what do I need now? Honestly, I think the crit is probably his most valuable thing we can get right now. Okay, we're gonna get to level 17. And once we get to level 17... we'll be in good shape. I am concerned about the... things like the Griffins that I'll be dealing with eventually. So 660. Actually, I don't know how loud that is for you guys, but I'm going to actually just mute my mic for now because it's too loud for me to justify keeping my mic on. So I will return my mic once this is over. Alright, so I'm going to end things here for today. I decided to do an attack power level. The construction is a little quieter right now, so I have a momentary lapse. Preemptive of 15 is enough to get ahead of those phoenixes. So I pumped my thief up to there. We should be able to kill the phoenixes before they get a turn now, which is very good. He still hasn't reached the defense that I need him to reach, but he is in the back row, so he's got enough defense that I feel like he can survive for a couple of rounds and have an okay time. So the thief and the gray mage are currently sort of my assassin characters, and I just realized that the Quicksilver ring is actually not what I thought it was. The Quicksilver ring increases a much better stat than I thought it did. I thought it increased agility. It doesn't. It increases preempt by 150. So increasing 150 preempt changes the scope of the game to a large extent. I'm not going to get that until like floor 18 or something, but it does mean that the monk is going to have access to 4 attacks and extreme speed right at the beginning. And the speed is actually going to be fast enough that even enemies that normally would be too fast to outspeed are going to be beatable by the monk. So he's going to be able to assassinate specific targets very quickly, and that's going to be extremely powerful. So that combo is going to be very nice. And then we will see how things continue from there. Unfortunately, that does take up both of his ring slots, so it begs the question of who's going to take the experience ring later, but that's way further down the road. It's entirely possible that by the time I reach that point, the monk will actually be pretty far ahead of the game anyway, because of his he scales a lot better without needing to have gear. So anyway, that's going to be it for today. Thank you everyone for watching. It has been a pleasure to stream for you today. Next time we will hopefully be going down a few more levels. We're now on Abyss floor 10. I don't imagine that... I think that basically what's going to happen is we're going to get a lot of experience, get a lot of potency right now, and then things are going to smooth out a bit as we progress. We have some higher stat stat points to reach along the way, but we're also going to be getting gear, and the scaling at this point is honestly going to be pretty slow. The biggest problem that we're going to have is there's going to be a lot of enemies that are just really irritating because of the fact that they're going to be using AoE poison effects and things like that. So one of the primary reasons that we want to get as much done right here as possible is so I can do things like, hey, I can assassinate, you know, a spider or two before it gets a turn, doing things like that. That's why we're wanting to invest a lot here. Unfortunately, we're not getting as much experience as I'd like, but what are you gonna do? So that's it for now. Thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you again next time.